The story begins with a single piece of footage, grainy, silent, and recorded at 4 in the morning, showing a man dragging a long, heavy object wrapped tightly in fabric across the pavement. The camera did not know what it was seeing, but the world would soon learn that the bundle being pulled toward a car was the lifeless body of 33-year-old Sheylla Cabrera. Sheylla had come to the United States from Peru to give her 3 young sons a safer and happier life. Friends described her as one of those rare people who carried sunshine with them wherever they went, always putting her children first, always helping others, and always managing to smile despite the weight she carried. Behind the warm personality and devoted motherhood, however, there was a burden she kept hidden from most people. The man she married, 36-year-old Sheylla Cabrera Corno, was not the loving husband he pretended to be. Their relationship had been filled with violence long before they arrived in the United States. Sheylla's mother in Peru knew all too well what her daughter had endured. She had received desperate phone calls in the past, calls where Sheylla described beatings, threats, and even moments where her young children were harmed. According to her mother, the abuse had followed Sheylla across continents, persisting even after the family settled in Lancaster, California. Friends in Lancaster also noticed the signs. They saw the fear in her eyes, the way she carefully chose her words when speaking about her husband, the way she hesitated whenever someone suggested she leave him. She wanted to escape, but Sheylla controlled her through threats. He repeatedly told her that if she ever tried to walk away, he would take the children and disappear. Those threats trapped her in a nightmare for years. By the summer of 2025, Sheylla realized that staying was no longer an option. The violence had escalated, the manipulation had grown darker, and she finally confided in her friends that she wanted a divorce. She spoke with her parents on August 9 and told them she was preparing to report Sheylla to authorities in Lancaster. She sounded frightened but determined. Her mother later said that Sheylla promised she would be safer soon. Tragically, that was the last time her family ever heard her voice. Inside their apartment on Lancaster Boulevard, tension had reached a breaking point. Sheylla sensed her slipping away, sensed that his control was weakening, and people close to the couple later said they feared what he might do. On August 10, the situation reached its horrific end. While many details remain sealed within court documents, prosecutors described the killing as intentional and brutal, involving the use of a knife. This was not an accident or a moment of sudden rage. It was a calculated murder carried out while the couple's 3 sons remained somewhere inside the apartment, unaware that their world was being shattered forever. After killing Sheylla, Sheylla did not panic. Instead, he acted with disturbing calmness, wrapping her body in a large piece of fabric similar to what later appeared in surveillance footage. Around 2:40 in the morning, a neighbor returning from a night shift noticed him cleaning the trunk of his car in the darkness, an odd and unsettling sight that would later become an important detail in the investigation. Hours later, at around 4 in the morning, another camera captured the most incriminating evidence: Sheylla dragging the heavy, wrapped bundle from the apartment, pulling it across the ground, and struggling under its weight before loading it into the trunk. He then drove deep into the Angeles National Forest, navigating the winding mountain roads in the early dawn hours until he reached a remote area. There he dumped his wife's body over an embankment, leaving her hidden among brush and rocks before returning home to craft a web of lies. 2 days passed, and when Sheylla's friends could no longer reach her, they contacted law enforcement and reported her missing. Sheriff's deputies visited the apartment and began asking questions, but Sheyilla's explanations kept changing. He first claimed she had been taken by immigration authorities, a lie meant to discourage immediate investigation. Then he told someone else she had run off with another man. Later, he claimed she had been in an accident but refused to share any details. Each version contradicted the last, raising immediate suspicion. Friends told investigators about the domestic abuse, about her plan to leave, and about the threats involving the children. Detectives quickly realized this was not a simple missing person case. On August 13, during follow-up interviews, investigators obtained surveillance video from a neighbor's Ring camera. The footage showed Sheylla pulling the large wrapped object, strong evidence that something terrible had happened inside the apartment. The discovery shifted the entire case. The Homicide Bureau took over, and teams from multiple search and rescue units were sent into the Angeles National Forest. Searching the massive terrain was like searching for a single grain of sand on a beach, but they pushed forward. Meanwhile, investigators learned even more troubling information. Josimar and the couple's 3 children had vanished. Authorities believed he had already fled the country. The investigation intensified. Alerts were sent to Mexican and Peruvian authorities, and by the morning of August 16, search and rescue teams spotted something in the forest, material that matched the fabric seen in the surveillance video. Detectives rushed to the area, and once they examined it, their fears were confirmed. Sheylla's body was found wrapped inside the material. The discovery devastated the community. News spread quickly, and the grief was overwhelming. Sheylla had been a beloved friend, neighbor, and mother. To know she had been murdered and discarded like nothing was unbearable for those who knew her. That same day, investigators learned that the children had been located safely in Peru. Peruvian authorities took them into protective custody, ensuring they were far from danger. But Josimar was still on the run. Without formal charges filed yet in the United States, Mexican and Peruvian authorities could not detain him permanently, even though he had been questioned during his travels. Once prosecutors gathered enough evidence, they presented the case to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office on August 21. Josimar was charged with murder, with the added allegation of using a knife. The next day, an extradition arrest warrant was issued, and an Interpol Red Notice was activated, marking him as a wanted fugitive internationally. For nearly a week, he remained free in Peru, but with global attention now on the case and pressure increasing from authorities, the walls finally closed in. On August 27, Josimar surrendered at Interpol headquarters in Lima. Footage released by Peruvian police showed him handcuffed, escorted by officers. He is now awaiting extradition back to California, where he will face trial and a potential sentence of 26 years to life. What remains is the impact on 3 young children who lost their mother in the most tragic way possible. Sheylla's family, friends, and the Lancaster community continue to mourn her while calling for justice. Her story serves as another devastating reminder of how dangerous domestic violence can become when threats escalate unchecked. She tried to survive. She tried to protect her children. She tried to reclaim her life. In the end, her attempt to escape is what cost her everything.